Hey, are you a business owner, entrepreneur, or professional? If so, we want you to apply to be a featured guest on our show. My name is Adam Torres, and I host the Mission Matters series of podcasts. I've recorded over 3,000 episodes, and we are just getting started. How do you know if you'd be a good guest to be on the show? Well, only one way to find out, and that's to apply, but I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We want guests that have a story to tell, guests with a brand, a product, or a service that can benefit my audience of listeners. If this sounds like you, go to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. I'd love to talk to you and get to know more about your story. Again, head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, now let's get into the show. Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters Innovation, your source for all things innovation. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Denis Thompson on the line, and he's CEO over at ArtWave. Denis, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adam. I appreciate it. Look forward to it.
All right, so we have quite a topic for us today. We will talk about treating why, not where, and I'm excited to get into that. And specifically, we'll talk about neurotherapy, how it works, the type of people that can benefit, or the type of conditions that can benefit from neurotherapy. So we have some great content today for the audience. But before we get into that, maybe let's just start a little bit further back in your background a little bit. Like, how did you get on this path, prior to ArtWave?
Adam, I appreciate you asking me that. It started with being disillusioned with the results of what we typically get in physical therapy or athletic training. Not because that these folks aren't very, very well versed in what they do. It's just that the mechanism that they use just didn't make sense to me. I mean, when I was in school, I asked a very simple question: why do we have atrophy? And the answer to the question was, well, we have atrophy because it's part of a trauma situation. Well, I'm sorry, that just didn't make sense to me. I'm a why guy, not a where guy. So I wanted to know, why do we have atrophy? And if I can't answer it physiologically, which is my area of expertise, then it's got to be something else. So when I started looking at the other side of the coin, which is neurology, then it was like an aha moment, and I began going down that road looking for the neurological reason we have the problem, not the physiological problem. And that's how it really all started.
Wow. And so let's fast forward a bit. So now ArtWave. So
yes.
Tell us a little bit more about the company and what you're doing.
Well, we're privately held. We've been in business for roughly 22 years now. We patented a therapy called neurotherapy. All other therapy is not patented. This therapy is patented because, again, it works on why you have the problem, not where you have the problem. We patented technology, a tool that can only be used with that therapy. And the tool basically helps us diagnose or identify where the neurological break in communication is, causing the muscles to act in the manner in which they're acting, which is causing the problem. So in other words, Adam, if you have pain in your elbow, everybody's going to treat your elbow because that's where your pain is. Unfortunately, that's not where the pain's coming from. It's just where it's ending up. So if I work on where it's coming from, I get rid of it. If I work on where it ends up, I'm going to work there for quite some period of time. So the idea behind neurotherapy is just to eliminate the problem. So surgery doesn't eliminate the problem. It just eliminates the effect of the problem. The problem's still there.
let's go a little bit further. I'm glad you bring up physical therapy. And again, I know you mentioned this isn't to say that, physical therapists and people in that industry they're not doing great work or they don't want to, but I would like to maybe go into a little bit of some of the differences that you see between PT and neurotherapy.
I think PT is fantastic. I think those folks are incredibly skilled in tremendous scientific minds, but you only know what you know, and you only know what you've been taught. And so if physical therapy is teaching you the physical mechanism of doing physical therapy, you're really not delving over into the other side, and that is the neurological component of that. So let me give you kind of a hypothetical example. If you fracture an arm and the doctor puts you in a cast and you're in a cast and a sling for roughly about 6 weeks, and then the cast comes off, the sling comes off, and now you go to your favorite physical therapist. The physical therapist's job is to get your arm straight. Well, unfortunately, for the last 6 weeks, your brain's been telling your arm this is supposed to be in a bent position. So the second I, the physical therapist, which I'm not, but I, the physical therapist in this role play, pull down on your arm, it's going to be unbelievably uncomfortable for you because you're going to be fighting, trying to protect. So you're in what we call fight or flight. In medical terminology, basically it's called sympathetic dominance. In lay terminology, it's called fight or flight. So I pull your arm down, you fight against me, and it's very uncomfortable. Well, to me, that did not make sense. And for the physical therapist, I feel sorry for him because they're fighting a signal. Well, what signal are they fighting? They're fighting the brain sending a signal saying, no, I'm not supposed to go there. So I just looked at that and said, wait a minute. Why don't I just change the signal? Instead of having it say, no, don't go there, just allow it to go there. So I looked at it as a physiologist and I said, okay, what are the muscles necessary to fire to get the arm straight? Oh, it's a tricep. So if I send an electrical signal to the tricep, I wonder what's going to happen. So I did it. I sent a signal to the tricep. Guess what happened? The arm straightened and there was no pain or discomfort to the patient. I said, okay, well, that's a much easier way of doing it than fighting for a couple weeks of going through discomfort. Why not just change the signal, tell the muscle what to do? Just because your brain can't tell the muscle what to do doesn't mean an external brain can't. And so that's how the technology came about. That's the difference between neurotherapy and physical therapy. In neurotherapy, we find the signal that's causing that protective mechanism, and we abate that signal, change that signal. It's no longer in protection. Now you're in what we call rest and recovery.
Wow. And so I like that you brought up the example about the elbow and who benefits from this. So, I mean, obviously we know the obvious would be athletes, like we know that can work, but like who else is this for?
Well, again, stop and think about that magic question, why? So if you have pain and you can't answer the question why you have pain, you're being treated wrong. So now think about what controls everything. If you went into Google right now and you said, what controls your body? Guess what the answer is going to be? Your nervous system. So now think about this. Every doctor that we know of, every therapist that we know of, are trained in what? Where the problem is. That's what they're trained in. So obviously, all of our therapies, all of our diagnostic tools do exactly the same thing. You get an MRI, X-ray, ultrasound, CAT scan, do any kind of scan, it tells you what? Where the problem is and the severity of the problem. And it tells us where to treat it. Well, there's a huge gap there. That's not what causes the problem.
Right.
So if you find out what causes the problem, you can solve the problem. Well, if you look at the simple thing, Adam, you're a computer. You got two components, hardware and software. Every doctor's trained in the hardware. Nobody's typically trained in the software. So if you have a hardware problem, are you going to solve it with software problem? No. If
No.
you have a software problem, you're going to solve it with a hardware problem? No. You got it. The software drives everything. So to answer your question, every single listener who has any type of symptomology, we can help them. Not because we're a panacea. It's because we're working on why they have the problem, not where they have the problem. Does that make any sense?
Oh, that makes total sense. And I guess the next logical question on my end is, and I know this is going to change, so I'm not trying to, blanket answer it, but like, how long until some people like experience some type of result or feel or something like that? Because PT, it just depends, and I know it depends on severity and what you're doing, but like, tell me some stories around this.
Well, let's give you an example. Any time you have symptoms, your mind and your nervous system is sending a signal to your muscle to be in like a balled up fist. Okay? We call that concentric contraction. You're in protection. The second, and I mean the second, I apply our technology, that muscle has the ability to lengthen, which means you're going to disrupt the signal that's causing that protection and increase the signal of relaxation. To answer your question, we've treated 500,000 people all over the world. We used to do this as a mechanism of our business model. You go into Google and your doctor says, okay, you need a joint replacement. And you call us and say, hey, I really don't want to go through surgery for a joint replacement. Is there anything you guys can do? Because we were on Google, right? Right at the top, it said, if you're told this, call us. So you would call us and say, look, Adam, I don't know if I can help you or not, but here's what I'm willing to do. I'll send you a very expensive medical piece of equipment directly to your house at no cost. I'll spend 1 hour of our time over Zoom or Skype or whatever, and we kind of pioneered that mechanism way before telemedicine 20 years ago. And we'll do a treatment, just like you're in our office. At the end of that treatment, you're going to know beyond a shadow of a doubt if we can help you or not. Now, why did I do that? I did that because, to answer your question, every single person who goes through a treatment sees an instant, and I mean within 5 minutes, they see a change in the way they feel and the way they can move. It's not magic. All I did is disrupt the present pattern they're in. And the hard part is I tell them, they think they're cured. I say, oh, no. All I did is disrupt that pattern because you're stuck in a neural pattern. If you got pain, you're stuck in a neural pattern. You got restricted motion, you're stuck in a neural pattern. If you got, if you're got any type of condition, it is a neural pattern. So I disrupt that pattern for 10 or 15 minutes or 45 minutes, and I tell them, look, this first session just did that disruption for roughly 45 minutes. The reason you have to go to 20 sessions is to create a new pattern, which eliminates the old pattern. And it takes me 20 sessions to do that. And every day, your pattern is going to be broken for a longer period of time. So today, 45 minutes, tomorrow, an hour and a half, next day, 3 hours, next day, 5 hours, and go on and on and on. But it's instant, to give you an example. I had a baseball pitcher in here, I won't tell you where he's from, who came in today. He just had Tommy John surgery, just went through all the rehab for Tommy John. His agent told him about us. He walks in here. He can't twist his arm without pain, can't move his wrist without pain. And 2.5 minutes later, he's got full extension on his arm and he's got zero pain. And all I did was send a signal to the biceps and triceps to lengthen, and that took the load off the elbow and he could move.
Wow.
Without pain.
So you're making a difference here. Obviously, not just in athletes' lives, but in everyday people. What's geography like? What areas do you serve? Like, because I'm at the end of this, I'm going to give you the opportunity to leave either website or social, or, there's people that are going to want to follow up with you. I mean, what areas do you serve geography-wise? I mean, give us a little bit of a feel for that.
Well, we're international. There's pretty much not a country that we're not in. This podcast is primarily for the U.S., and in the U.S., there's not a city or a state that we don't have access to, because keep in mind, we're a remote company. We do all of our therapy remotely. Before telemedicine was even a word, we coined a new word called telerehabilitation. So you don't have to leave your house to get rehab. And we want to, before you even think about it, we want to make sure that our rehab, our therapy works. And we give you a free treatment to prove to you it either works or it doesn't work, and we can ship anywhere in the United States. Anywhere.
Wow. That's awesome. So, Denis, that being said, if somebody is watching this and they want to learn more, I mean, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, I think the first thing is that we have a new device which is made for the masses, not just the classes, obviously. Most of our business falls into the classes category. We've got about 3,000 of the most elite athletes in the world, and we have about 497,000 patients that fall into the upper income area. I wanted to get into the masses, and I wanted to eliminate the biggest problem in the masses, and that's pain. And I wanted to look at that as a way of eliminating medication, not a therapeutic need. We don't take medicine for therapy. We take medicine to get rid of the feeling and prevent the feeling from coming back. That's why you take medicine. So I looked at neuropathy as an example, and the average person with neuropathy is spending anywhere from $300 to $500 a month on drugs. I wanted to create a device where they don't have to take drugs, period. But I want to make sure that it does what I say it does before they make an investment with us, right? So I created a 30-day trial for this brand new product of ours. We'll give any listener or any viewer who's, listening to your show, we'll give them a 30-day use of this technology at absolutely zero cost, free. We'll ship it to them free. We'll ship it back to us free if it didn't work. And my therapist will work with them, show them exactly how to address and use the product. So if they have pain in their foot, they put a pad on the bottom of their foot, pad on the top of their foot, crank up the power just a little bit. Now they don't have pain. They're going to know within 10 minutes if it's going to help them or not. And we're going to do that free. So they can go to a link, ARP Wave, that's spelled A as in Apple, R as in Robert, P as in Paul, wave, like an ocean wave, .com/30. And that, if they fill out that link, we'll send them out a unit at absolutely no cost, no obligation. And all I want to do is see if we can help them. If we have somebody that's got treatment or thinking about getting a surgery and they've been told they need surgery, have they been told that there's nothing else anybody else can do, for those folks, we have another link, and that's ARP Wave, same thing, A as in Apple, R as in Robert, P as in Paul, wave, like an ocean wave, FST, Frank, Sam, Tom, which stands for free single treatment. We'll send our therapy device out. We'll do 1 hour of therapy with them, no cost to them at all, to prove to them that we can either help them or if we can't. If we can't, they just send everything back, no harm, no foul. If we can help them, which I'm sure we will, they'll see it immediately and they'll become a client.
That's awesome. Well, Denis, really appreciate you coming on the show and the great work you're doing. And what I love about your system and the way that you're helping people is you're like, hey, let me ship it out there. Let's see if it works. If it does, then you're going to know immediately. Like, this isn't like you have to, wait months and months and months to see if there's any type of result. Like you mentioned, like, you will know.
And then you're going to know immediately.
Yeah, you're sending it out. You're like, hey, and even giving 30 days to use the device. I mean, that's amazing. So you're definitely, for lack of better words, putting your money where your mouth is on your technology and what you're doing, and also your mission to really help people. Like, you don't have to do all these things. So my hat's off to you on that. And
I appreciate that.
Successful business you've built through the years. So it's awesome, and you're helping a lot of people. So thank you again for coming on the show, Denis. It has been a pleasure. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. Hope you learned a lot. If you did, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. We definitely want you to be a return viewer or listener. Got more great guests coming up for you, and don't want you to miss those. And Denis, thanks again for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Adam. Have a great day. Bye-bye.